Let's begin by offering our respects to our founder Acharya and preeminent Shiksha Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Taruvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, so we welcome all of you to our weekly Bhagavad Gita classes. We have with us here Auntie Nita, Ritu Lalwani, Aja, Ayush, Devina, Divya, Joli Nandwani, Karuna Jadwani, Khushbu. I don't know who is Lenovo. And then we have Manju, NC Venkatchari, Neha Chatlani, Rajiv Kumar. My parents are there. Then we have Ranjit Das, Ritu Lalwani, Shri Hari Radha Devidasi, Upasna, Venkatesh, and Sandra. Okay, so what did we see in the previous class? We started with chapter number
7.
7. And what's the title of chapter 7?
Knowledge of the Absolute.
Knowledge of the Absolute. So knowledge of whom? Who does that Absolute refer to?
Krishna.
So why is Krishna giving knowledge about himself? Why is it essential?
So we can decide from right to wrong, and so Arjun can decide from right to wrong, and Arjun can fight for the duty, not for his sense gratification.
No, so
And
how is
it's a
knowing
knowledge for us too.
how is knowing Krishna going to help him decide what is right and wrong? Knowing Krishna.
Because you have to get knowledge from the right source, the authoritative, and he comes from disciple succession, and he's also God himself, and he's the one that everybody needs to obey and surrender to.
Okay, very nice. Anybody else wants to give more perspectives? This middle section of the Bhagavad Gita is the bhakti section, right? And bhakti means, how does Srila Prabhupada translate bhakti?
Love to Krishna, devotional service, selfless devotional service to Krishna.
So bhakti, Srila Prabhupada translates as devotional service. So when we have to render service with devotion, right? Can we do it for anyone and everyone? Is it possible?
No.
No.
For example, we may serve our boss, but are we doing it with devotion?
No.
We may
We're
be
doing
serving the
it
boss, but because we are getting a salary in return, isn't it?
yes,
So when we render devotional service, it means we have to love that person. Just as how a mother renders service to the child, not expecting anything in return, isn't it? So when we have to render devotional service, then we need to love that person. And we cannot love someone unless we know the glories or the greatness or the sweetness of that person. So we were discussing in the previous class how the Lord has two aspects, opulence and sweetness. Krishna has two aspects, opulence and sweetness. So in certain pastimes, he displays his opulence. In certain pastimes, he displays his sweetness. Why is it important to know about the opulence of Krishna?
for serving purposes, and also for the purpose because the opulence that Krishna has, no one else has. He's the only soul, only identity who has those opulences. No other person has those opulences. And to serve him with those opulences, some devotees decide to serve him with the opulences. Some devotees decide to serve him with different mood.
Okay, anybody else? Another perspective? More reasons?
But Mataji, I read somewhere, whatever we do, whether it's mother takes care of the child, or we donate, or we worship God, there is some purpose always, or some selfishness, let's say. When mother takes care of child, she thinks, yeah, he would grow up and he'll take care of her. Maybe when we donate, we try to earn good karma. When we devote ourselves, we think about ourselves that going to the higher planet, right? So there is always some purpose, or let's say selfishness, whatever we do, right?
Yeah, what you are saying is the material calculation. What you're saying is absolutely correct. So this is the materialistic calculation. What's there in it for me? What should I... So coming to mother and child, the relationship between the mother and child is the closest to pure service in this material world. If we want to understand, the closest example we can give is between the mother and the child. But even that, as you said, there can be a tinge of materialistic calculation. But when we make that switch, when we make that switch from being grossly materialistic, when we bring in bhakti in our lives, then we are reminded that whatever we do for material benefits, we leave with us when death strikes, right? Spiritual benefits we take with us even life after life after life. So yes, the materialistic calculation, that is for a gross materialist who thinks like this. But when we make the switch, then we understand. That's why then we understand bhakti means devotional service, service with devotion, not service because we are getting something in return. Okay.
But how can we say selfless? Still, we have some selfishness that will upgrade ourselves to the higher planet, right? There is some desire. It's not desireless.
Yeah, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prays, no? He prays that I do not even want liberation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he prays in his Shikshashtakam that I don't even want liberation. So a devotee, a pure devotee, does not even desire liberation. He only desires that I want to serve the Lord even life after life after life. So that's a pure devotee. Even liberation he does not want. He only wants to serve the Lord. That's all. That's his only desire.
Okay. I'm not convinced, but yeah, still.
Yeah, you wait till the end of the course, you will be convinced.
I'll wait.
Yeah, because see, there are different gradations of devotees. Say initially one is on the animalistic platform. You can say most human population is on the animalistic platform, not following any rules or regulations, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, just like an animal, isn't it? Then when we start to follow the shastric rules and regulations, then we have come to the human platform. At least we are human beings. Then as we bring in tinge of bhakti slowly, then there is detachment. Then we realize that, okay, as we read Shastra more and more, we realize we are getting purified, and we realize that how anything that we get materially is only for this lifetime. Then we want something that we can enjoy for a longer period of time, even beyond this lifetime. So then one wants to go to heaven. Then when one is in heaven, one realizes that, okay, this heavenly pleasure also is going to come to an end. Even though it lasts for several years, it will come to an end someday. So any intelligent person will say, okay, I want to enjoy, but I want to enjoy eternally. I want to enjoy without it having to come to an end in heaven. So then for that, he has to go beyond heaven, and he has to go to the spiritual world. And in the spiritual world, there is always increasing pleasure. So even that desire for liberation goes away. So it is a step-by-step process. As we get purified of our materialistic disease by taking, see, when we are diseased, we take medication under the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master. So like that, we are materially diseased, and when we take medicines, the medication from our bona fide spiritual master, then we can be cured of the disease, and then we can understand these higher concepts. Okay. Is it okay, Rajiv?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so what were we discussing? Yeah, so the opulence and the sweetness. So Sri Hari Radha explained why it's important to know the opulence. Are there more perspectives on that? Anybody else wants to elaborate on that or give another angle of vision? Why do we have to understand the opulence of Krishna? Why do we have to understand that from Krishna comes Mahavishnu, from Mahavishnu comes Garbhodakashay Vishnu, and then Shirodakashay Vishnu? Why do we have to understand all that? Why does Krishna have to show his universal form, Virat Roop, show his opulence? Why does Krishna have to fill the basket of that fruit seller with jewels and show that there is so much opulence? Why does Krishna have to give Sudama the opulence that even Indra does not have in heaven? Why? Why does he show his opulence in all these leelas? Why it's important to know that?
Sometimes to surrender yourself completely, you need to get rid of the pride, because bhakti needs complete surrender. So for that, we need to know what is the opulence of Krishna, so that really we can, get rid of our ego and pride and completely surrender.
Oh, yes, very nice. So that it will crush our ego. We understand that we are not great. The Lord is great. Therefore, we have to surrender. Very nice, Upasana.
And
More.
also because no one is equal to Krishna.
Yeah.
So everything that he has, nobody can be equal to him. We can be below him, but we cannot be above him or equal to him. Also
Yes.
because of that.
Yes, very nice. When we see the opulence of the Lord, we understand that nobody is equal to him and nobody is greater than him. So we take a subordinate position, and therefore we have to surrender. Any more aspects?
It also demonstrates his supremacy, I guess, through his opulence.
It demonstrates his supremacy. So because he is supreme, therefore we have to surrender. Very nice. Okay, let's discuss sweetness. Now, why is it important to understand the sweetness of Krishna? Damodar Leela, he allows that he is being tied by Yashoda just by a rope. Or the sweetness that he is reciprocating with the love of that fruit vendor, or he's reciprocating with the love of Sudama, or the sweetness when he is stealing butter from the neighbors' houses. All this is his sweetness. So why do we have to understand his sweetness to surrender to him?
Because we have to do adan pradan, meaning exchange of service. Like we serve Krishna in each and every mood that we to give him pleasure, to serve him dedicatedly, to surrender completely to him, to know that he's the one that we need to serve, he's the one that we need to act in these moods on, and then our mood can be perfected in every other relation.
Okay, very nice. More aspects?
So that we can learn from his sweetness. At least we can do some of the, not to that 100% of like Krishna, but at least we can do something good like him.
So we can also be sweet in our dealings.
Yeah.
Learning
Right.
from him. Okay, very nice.
Also to know our identity. When we do this with him, when we serve him in this proper way, in this mood, in sweetness, we know our identity, that our identity is a das and dasi of Krishna, and to serve him is our duty, and it is our laksh, our goal of the life. It is done in a way where we are properly situated and we are working under his guidance and under his instruction. We are actually serving the right person. Our senses are the Krishna is the master, and our senses are his das and dasi. So when we do that in these moods, we serve him. So that's also exchange of pure love, exchange of pure service, and also it's putting our senses in the right activity, in the right service.
So all this that you have said, can be applied even to opulence.
Yes,
but now specifically, why sweetness?
Because there are few devotees they exchange love to Krishna under any circumstances. There's no seema for them, and that's sweetness, that's gopi prem, that's radha prem, that's the brajvasi prem.
Okay, so why do we need to understand the sweetness?
Because
how does it help us?
We have to hear, and we have to understand the sweetness, because we have to purify our heart and our senses, and we have to dedicate our lives to these moods. When we hear these different moods of Krishna's, the devotees are serving him in this mood, the devotees serving him in this mood. So we have to hear and understand and purify our senses and our heart, and understand our identity with Krishna.
Okay, anybody else wants to give another perspective?
Or can you give a little hint?
Okay, let's wait. Let's wait if somebody else wants to come up with something else.
Sweetness is love.
Sweetness is love. Yes. When we see a person is sweet, we completely fall in love with that person. When we only see the opulence, then our mood is more of respect, isn't it? Respect, and we are very, very reverential. Oh, yes, he's so great. But when we see the sweetness, then we fall in love with the person. And our relationship with the Lord is based on love, isn't it?
Love.
So both are important. Opulence and sweetness, both are important for us to understand. If we only see the sweetness and we don't understand the opulence of Krishna, then we may tend to take him for granted, no? Because we may say, oh, what is so great? He's just stealing butter. He's stealing the clothes. Even my child in the house, he's naughty and he engages in naughty activities. So we will think that he's an ordinary person. So to understand that, yes, Krishna is very sweet, but and not misunderstand that he's an ordinary person, we need to understand the opulence. On the other side, if we only see the opulence and not the sweetness of the Lord, then our relationship with the Lord will only be reverential, only of respect, no? So the intimacy of the relationship will not be there if we only understand the opulence of the Lord and not the sweetness. In the sweetness, we have greater intimacy. But because we should not take the Lord for granted, that sweetness, not take it for granted, then therefore we have to also understand the opulence. So therefore the Lord has two aspects, opulence and sweetness. When we understand the opulence and the sweetness of the Lord, then we will be able to surrender to that personality. Now Krishna's bottom line message is surrender unto me. That's the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. So if somebody just says surrender unto me, we would like, why should I surrender to you? What is it in you that makes me surrender unto you? Of course, we are going to ask those questions. So therefore, in order to understand why we have to surrender to Krishna, Krishna reveals knowledge about his opulence and his sweetness in this middle section of the Bhagavad Gita, which is the middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, right? So we just started chapter number 7. In chapter 7, Krishna is revealing his opulence or his sweetness. We said this in the last class. What is he revealing in chapter 7?
Opulence.
Yes, opulence. Very nice. So in the first shloka that we saw previously, Krishna, he begins this chapter by saying, just hear. So we were talking about how hearing is very, very important for us. When we are in the wombs of our mother, the hearing is the first sense that is developed. And when we leave the body, also the last sense to fail is the hearing. So Krishna says, just hear. And then he says that he is going to declare this knowledge in full, which means nothing Krishna has held back. He has revealed everything that one requires to know how we can go back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime. So see here, he talks about his Aishwarya Jnana or his opulence in chapters 7 and 8. Then Madhurya Gana, sweetness in chapter 9. And both together, Aishwarya and Madhurya, sweetness and opulence, he is discussing in 10, 11 and 12. So this is the middle section of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, we need to start from third shloka. Who can read today? Okay, Vivansh.
Mataji, can I read?
Okay, I saw Vivansh raising his hand before I could hear you speak. So
Okay.
today it'll have to be Vivansh. Let's hear the shloka.
मनुष्याणां सहस्रेषु कश्चिद्यतति सिद्धये यततामपि सिद्धानां कश्चिन्मां वेत्ति तत्त्वतः.
Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth.
Okay, so here Krishna is talking about the rarity of people who can actually understand him. So what is he saying? Out of many thousands of men, one may endeavor for perfection. So there are so many thousands and thousands of people. How many of them are actually wanting to know what is the right thing to do? How many of them actually endeavor to understand what is Shastra? How many of them endeavor to even ask the question, who am I? If you ask them, who am I? They will say, I am man, or I am woman, or I'm working here, or I'm here. But that's not us, right? The first knowledge of spiritual life is I am spirit soul. So they don't even know that they are spirit soul. They don't even know who they are. So out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, because most human population is engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. The animals eat, we also eat. The animals sleep, we also sleep. The animals mate, we also mate. The animals defend, we also defend. So if we are also going to be engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending only, then what is the difference between the animal and us? Human beings are not meant to be engaged in sense gratificatory activities, not just eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. We need to reason, question, think, use our intelligence. If we don't explore this potential, then we are simply well-dressed, sophisticated, polished, two-legged animals. No, we are just the animals are eating, sleeping, mating, defending on the road in the jungles. We may be doing it in our posh homes, but still, because the activity is the same, therefore we are only sophisticated, polished, two-legged animals. We can come to human level only when we understand what is this human life meant for. Human life is meant for realizing God. This human body is meant to be used so that we can go back home, back to Godhead. Okay, so here Krishna is saying, out of many thousands of men, one may endeavor for perfection. And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So even amongst those who have achieved perfection, only one, hardly one can know Krishna in truth. Knowing Krishna in truth means knowing him as a person, personality. The Bhagavan realization of Krishna. To understand that Krishna is a person, just like you and me, he's a person, Purusha, but he is Purushottama. He's the topmost person. To understand that Krishna is a cowherd boy, God is a cowherd boy. God is, he's pulling the chariot of Arjuna. He's taken the subordinate position. He's a chariot driver for his devotees. He is the son of Yashoda. Hardly one can understand Krishna in truth. So see, one can achieve perfection even by realizing the Brahman feature or the Paramatma feature of the Lord, to realize that God is a light, is an energy, or to realize that God is a super soul, Paramatma. Also, they are achieving perfection, but they do not understand Krishna as a person, as a personality. So Krishna is saying, even of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. That's why if you can actually understand that God is a person, then you are more spiritually advanced than 99% of the world population, you can say. Now we'll come to section 2. Here Krishna is speaking about his material and spiritual energies, and he says that he is the source of all that is material and all that is spiritual. Let's see.
भूमिरापो नलो वायुः खं मनो बुद्धिरेव च अहङ्कार इति यं मे भिन्ना प्रकृतिरष्टधा.
Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies.
So first Krishna is talking about his material energy. So what are his material energies? He says earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So what is earth, water, fire, air, and ether? The 5 gross material elements. Our body, which part of our body is made of earth, water, fire, air, and ether? The gross body or the subtle body?
Gross body.
Gross body. And what is made of mind, intelligence, and false ego?
The subtle body.
The subtle body. So at death, which body is destroyed?
Gross body.
The gross body is destroyed. So what happens to the subtle body which has our mind, intelligence, and false ego?
Travels to a new body.
So when we change bodies at death, when we take another body, we take with us our mind, intelligence, and false ego. That's why we think differently. We have different levels of intelligence, isn't it? It's not that every child that is born has the same mindset, has the same intelligence. No, every child is different. Why? Because we are taking it from the previous lifetime. And Krishna is saying that all these 8 constitute my separated material energy. So even the material world is Krishna's energy. But Krishna says is my separated material energy. So what do you mean by separated material energy? Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice example. He says that milk is the separated energy of the cow. Because say the milk is made by the cow's body. It is the cow's energy. But once you extract the milk, now that milk is the separated energy of the cow. Another example Prabhupada gave was, if you hear the recording, if somebody has given a class, one has spoken, and then you hear the recording, that voice that is reverberating is the separated energy of the speaker. So this material world is the separated material energy of Krishna. It is Krishna's energy, but it is a separated material energy, Krishna is saying. So this is also coming from Krishna, because Krishna said these 8 constitute my separated material energy. So all that is material is coming from Krishna. Krishna is saying. Now let's see what he says next.
अपरेयमितस्त्वन्याम् प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे पराम् जीवभूतां महाबाहो ययेदं धार्यते जगन्.
Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material, inferior nature.
So Krishna is saying that he is the source of all the living entities. He's saying beside this, there is another superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities, which is us, right? The souls, we. So we belong to Krishna's superior or inferior energy?
Superior?
Superior. So that's what Krishna is saying. Superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities. So we belong to Krishna's superior energy. Now, usually, who dominates whom? If somebody is a superior and the other is inferior, who is the more dominating person or factor? The superior or the inferior?
Superior.
Superior, yeah. Naturally, the superior will dominate the inferior. But in this case, although we are belonging to Krishna's superior energy, when we come to the material world, we are coming under the dominance of Maya, unfortunately. So how is that possible? Because we have
disobeyed Krishna.
We have disobeyed Krishna. We have forgotten our relationship with Krishna. We have forgotten our relationship with God, our Father. Just like how the son of a rich man, if he has lost his memory and he doesn't know how to go back home, he's wandering around on the streets and he's forgotten who's my father, right? He's wandering here and there. He's going to be struggling and suffering. But when he revives his lost relationship with his father, when he remembers what is his relationship with his father, where his father is, who he is, what is his relationship with the richest man in town, then all his suffering is going to go away because he will be reunited with his father. In the same way, because we have forgotten our relationship with the Lord, therefore we have come under the influence of the inferior energy. But actually we belong to Krishna's superior energy. See, the living entities are Krishna's superior energy. Whom do we see here?
The soul, the living entity, the superior energy.
And?
The Supreme Lord, Krishna, the master of our senses.
Okay, anybody else? More precisely?
No, Vishnu, Paramatma inside of her.
Paramatma.
Paramatma, yes, Paramatma. So here in the heart of living entities, we have the soul and the super soul, the Atma and the Paramatma. So this body actually, this material body is inferior, but the soul is superior. Why we are superior is because we are qualitatively the same as the Lord. We are the same in quality. He is Sat Chit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge and always blissful. And even we, the soul, is eternal, full of knowledge and always blissful. But of course, we are not the same in quantity because it's like the drop of water in the ocean and the ocean water itself. It's the same in quality. It has the same elements. The drop of water has the same elements that the water in the ocean has, but there is a vast difference in quantity. So therefore, we are the same in quality and different in quantity. But because we are the same in quality, we belong to Krishna's superior energy. And because we are different in quantity, he is much more greater than us. We have minute independence. He is completely independent, Swarat. Therefore, we must surrender unto him. So Krishna is Satchitananda. We are also Satchitananda. The spirit soul is also Satchitananda. Then why are we suffering? See, this is the exact same question that Vidura asks to Maitreya Rishi. Vidura from the Mahabharata. He asked this question to his guru, Maitreya Rishi. So he says, the pure soul is pure consciousness and is never out of consciousness, either due to circumstances, time, situations, dreams, or other causes. How then does he become engaged in nascence? Nascence means ignorance. So how is it possible that the pure soul is engaged in ignorant activities? As the moon reflected on water appears to the seer to tremble due to being associated with the quality of the water, so the self associated with matter appears to be qualified as matter. So this is Maitreya Rishi responding to Vidura's question. So what is he saying? That it is because of our association with matter, because we are associating with the material, because of our association with matter for so many millions of years, therefore we have forgotten our identity, our spiritual identity. We have forgotten our relationship with the Lord. But that so what is the solution? But that misconception of self-identity can be diminished gradually by the mercy of the personality of Godhead Vasudev through the process of devotional service to the Lord in the mode of detachment. So how can we correct this error? By the mercy of the Lord through the process of devotional service in the mode of detachment. So this is the solution. So later we see Krishna saying in this chapter that this divine energy of mind, this material nature, consisting of the three modes of material nature, the three gunas, sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna, the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, is difficult to overcome. So this material nature is difficult to overcome for us. Although we are the superior energy and material nature is inferior energy, still it is difficult for us to overcome. Now, how can we, but it's not impossible. How can it be done? By surrendering. Those who have surrendered unto me, Krishna says, can easily cross beyond it. So in conclusion, the living entity is always greater than the material nature. Living entity is always superior to material nature because material nature always belongs to Krishna's inferior energy. So we are always actually superior to material nature. But this condition is reversed. Due to the contact with matter, this condition is reversed. So therefore, you can see the living entity comes under the dominance of material nature. But now how to reverse it again? We can reverse it again when one surrenders to Krishna. So when we surrender to Krishna, then the order is again reversed. Let's go to 6.
एतद्योनीनि भूतानि सर्वाणीत्युपधारय अहं कृत्स्नस्य जगतः प्रभवः प्रलयस्तथा.
Translation. All created beings have their source in these two natures, of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world. Know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution.
So Krishna is saying that of all that is material and all that is spiritual, he is both the origin and the dissolution. He is the creator as well as the destroyer. So Krishna is saying that everything that is spiritual, everything that is material, which means everything that exists is coming from him and will be destroyed by him. Now one can say, but Lord Brahma is the creator. Is Lord Brahma the creator? Yes or no?
Yes.
So,
No,
but Krishna is saying that he is the creator.
No, he's not. He creates only by the power of Krishna and by the guidance of Krishna, and he works under Krishna's guidance. Then he's a creator. Otherwise, the real creator is Krishna, and the destroyer is also Krishna.
Okay, very nice. So yes, Brahma is the creator, but he is not the only creator. He is the created creator. So because where does Brahma come from? Where does Lord Brahma come from?
Flower, the
From
lotus.
From the lotus flower. Where is the lotus flower coming from?
From the navel of Vishnu.
Navel of God.
From the navel of Vishnu. From the navel of which Vishnu? There are 3 Vishnus.
Vishnu.
What's that?
Mahavishnu.
Mahavishnu?
There's Garbhodaya Vishnu.
Garbhodakashai Vishnu. He is coming from the navel of Garbhodakashai Vishnu. Garbhodakashai Vishnu is coming from?
Krishna.
No, before Krishna.
Mahavishnu.
Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is Krishna's first expansion in the material world. Okay. So yes, Brahma is a creator, but Brahma is the created creator. So therefore, Krishna is saying that he is the creator of everything material and spiritual, as well as he is the destroyer of everything material and spiritual. Okay, Lavina, you have a question?
Yeah, so that means as they say that Shiva is destroyer. So that means Shiva is also not a destroyer, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, because Lord Shiva comes from the forehead of Lord Brahma.
Yeah.
So everything, so nothing can exist independent of Krishna. This is what Krishna himself is saying in the Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, see, that's why Bhagavad Gita helps us to remove many confusion. See, if you tell somebody that Krishna is a creator and Krishna is a destroyer, they'll say, no, Brahma is a creator, Lord Shiva is a destroyer. But we can get more clarity by reading the Bhagavad Gita, and we understand more clearly the position. See, there are two creations. There is Sarga and Visarga. There is elementary creation and secondary creation. So Krishna is the elementary creator. Lord Brahma is the secondary creator. Lord Brahma creates the bodies. He doesn't create the universes. The universes are being created by the breathing of Mahavishnu, isn't it? Every time Mahavishnu breathes out, a universe is being created from every pore of his body. From every pore on his skin, a whole universe is created when he breathes out. That Mahavishnu is actually coming from Krishna only. So, what is Brahma creating then? He is not creating the universes. Every universe has its own Brahma. We have discussed previously, isn't it? So, Brahma is creating the different bodies so that we can, each living entity can get a body according to what he deserves and what he desires. So, that the secondary creation, Visarga, is taken care of. The secondary creation is taken care of by Lord Brahma, and the primary creation is Krishna.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mayi sarvamidam krodam sutre manigana iva raso.
Yeah.
O conqueror of wealth, there's no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, as pearls are strung on a thread.
So now to understand how Krishna is the source of everything, Krishna is saying that he's giving an analogy, he's giving an example. He's saying just as how all the pearls that are strung on a thread, everything that is resting there, all the pearls are resting because of the thread. So therefore, everything that exists in material nature and in the spiritual world, everything is resting there, everything is in its place because of Krishna. Everything is existing because of Krishna. Previously, he said he is the creator and the destroyer. Here he's saying that he's the maintainer, because everything is in place. Everything rests upon me. So everything is being maintained by Krishna, just as how pearls are strung on a thread. If that thread is not there, would the pearls be in place?
No.
No. In the same way, if there is no Krishna, then nothing is going to exist neither in the material world nor in the spiritual world. Nothing can exist independent of Krishna. Says who?
Krishna himself.
Krishna himself is saying that, isn't it? Has anybody else declared this? Any other devata has declared this? No other devata has declared this. Only Krishna. So Krishna is saying there is no truth superior to me. That's why people surrender to, that's why Vaishnavas surrender to Krishna. The power of the visible is only an iota of the power of the invisible. So when we see nature, we like to go and travel and we see nature, we admire nature, you can see even leaves, how perfectly shaped the leaves are. Each leaf in creation has such a perfect shape. You see the beauty of the sun, the moon, how they are in place, the great planets, the planetary systems, how they are all revolving, how the sun is existing, giving heat and light, how our body is such a perfect everything in our body is also so perfectly placed, to digest our food and to fulfill so many other functions in the body. So we may admire all this, yes, but then we have to also remember to admire the one who has made it, who has put this system into place. The power of the visible is only an iota of the power of the invisible. So when we admire Mother Nature, let's not forget to remember where this nature is coming from. Krishna says that everything is coming from me. This also goes to show, it also defeats the argument, because the Mayavad philosophy is that Krishna, Ram, and all these personalities are coming from the Brahman effulgence. That is their logic. That is what they say. That is their philosophy. But here Krishna is saying there is no truth superior to me. So if Krishna is coming from the Brahman effulgence, then who is greater? The Brahman effulgence is greater or Krishna is greater?
Krishna is greater.
No, you didn't hear the question. If Krishna is coming from the Brahman effulgence, the Brahman effulgence is greater or Krishna is greater?
Brahma
The
influence.
Brahman effulgence.
Brahmanas.
Yes. But Krishna is saying there is no truth superior to me. So Krishna is coming from Brahman effulgence or Brahman effulgence is coming from Krishna?
Brahman
They are
effulgence is coming
interconnected.
from Krishna.
So Brahman effulgence is coming from Krishna and not vice versa. Brahman effulgence is the light that emanates from the body of Krishna. And it is from that light only that the sun and the moon get there.
Mataji, what is the definition of iota? Is it small?
Yeah, iota is a tiny bit, small, minuscule portion. Okay, let's go to 7.8.
Hamapsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryayoh pranavah sarva vedeshu shabdah te paurusham rishu.
O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man.
See, here in the next few shlokas, Krishna is going to say how he is the essence of everything. Essence means how he is the active ingredient or the essential element of different elements. He's going to talk in this section. So what is he saying here? I am the taste of water. Now, what is the essential quality of water? Is that it can quench the thirst. We may have juices, we may have soft drinks, we can have so many things to drink, but it will not quench our thirst. The only thing that can quench our thirst is water. So Krishna is saying that I am the taste of water. Then he says the light of the sun and the moon. The essential element of the sun and the moon is the light, right? So he is saying that the light of the sun and the moon, that is also me, Krishna is saying. Then he says that I am the syllable Om in the Vedic mantra. Now there are many, many mantras. All the mantras begin with Om. So Krishna is saying that Om also is me. So sometimes a Mayavad may say that, oh, I do not believe in Krishna, that I don't believe that Krishna is a person. And he may chant some mantras. But when he says Om at the beginning of every mantra, that Om is nothing but Krishna's name. So Krishna is saying that he is the Om in all the Vedic mantras. Then he says that I am the sound in ether. Ether means space. So sound can travel through space and therefore we can hear what is being spoken to us, or we can hear classes, lectures, or we can react, right? So therefore he's saying that I am the sound in ether. And he says that I am the ability in man. What is it that makes a man great? His abilities. It may be his ability to swim or ability to sports or music or dance or singing or to make money, businessman, whatever it is. What is it that makes a man great is the ability. So Krishna says that I am the ability in man. So whatever ability a person has, whatever talent one has, that also is coming from Krishna only. So nobody can say that I'm a self-made man. That statement is false. Nobody can say that because Krishna says that I am the ability in man. See, this Omkara, let's see a little bit more about this. Omkara is the complete representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the 6 Goswamis have analyzed Omkara in terms of its alphabetical constituents as follows. Omkara is a combination of 3 letters, A, U, and M. A, U, M make Om. So this A refers to Krishna, who is the master of all living entities and planets, material and spiritual, which Krishna has just now declared, no, that he is the source of all the living entities and planets, everything material and spiritual. Then U refers to Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is the pleasure potency of Krishna. And M refers to us, indicates all the living entities, all the jivas. So this Om, A-U-M, refers to the combination of Krishna, his potency, and his eternal servitors. In other words, Omkara represents Krishna, his name, fame, pastimes, entourage, expansions, devotees, potencies, and everything else pertaining to him is there in this one Om. Let's go to 9.
पुण्यो गन्धः पृथिव्यां च तेजश्चास्मि विभावसौ जीवनं सर्वभूतेषु तपश्चास्मि तपस्विषु
I am the original fragrance of the earth. I am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all aesthetics.
Okay, so now Krishna says, I am the original fragrance of the earth. Now, so you see, we plant seeds in earth, right? Does that seed have any fragrance?
No, it doesn't.
The seed has no fragrance. But when that seed grows into a tree and gives fruits and flowers, do those fruits and flowers have fragrance?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and if all those seeds, the seeds with no fragrance, different varieties are sowed in the earth, and they're all giving different fragrances, different aromas. So that fragrance is coming from the earth. That who is putting that fragrance? Krishna says that is also me. I am the original fragrance of the earth, because the seed has no fragrance, and the earth is the same earth, but so many different varieties of fragrances, aromas we are getting. So Krishna says, I am the original fragrance of the earth. I am the heat and fire. So the essential element in fire is that it can give you heat. So he's saying, I am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives. So what is the one element that is there in all of us who is alive and absent in people who are dead?
Soul, Paramatma.
Yeah, the soul, isn't it? The soul. When the soul is absent in the body, the person is dead. It's a dead body. So the element that gives life is the presence of the soul in the body. So that soul also is me, Krishna saying, I am the life of all that lives. Krishna just said that all the living entities belong to his superior energy. So I am the life of all that lives. And finally, he says, I am the penances of all ascetics. So ascetics, or somebody who's doing tapasya, what is the ability of a tapasvi? His greatest ability, or the more obvious quality, is that he can tolerate inconveniences. Tapasya, he can do tapasya. So he can tolerate so many inconveniences. So that ability to do the penance or to tolerate the inconveniences, that is also coming from Krishna, he says. So here you have a pictorial representation of this shloka.
बीजं मां सर्वभूतानां विद्धि पार्थ सनातनं बुद्धिर्बुद्धिमतामस्मि तेजस्तेजस्विनामहम्.
O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligent of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men.
So Krishna is saying he is the bijam, he is the seed, original seed of all existences. So everything that can exist everywhere, either material or spiritual, he is the original seed. Bijam mam sarva bhutanam. Then he says that he is the intelligence of the intelligent. If somebody is very intelligent, then that intelligence also is Krishna. And if there's somebody who's very powerful, has a lot of physical strength, then that power also is Krishna. He's saying that he's the prowess of all powerful men. So in other words, he's all powerful. He's present everywhere and he knows everything because he's the intelligence of the intelligent. So he's omniscient. He knows everything. He's the power of the powerful men. So he's omnipotent. And because he is the seed of everything that exists, so therefore he is omnipresent. He is present everywhere. So the Lord is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. So if somebody asks you where does it say in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, it is this particular shloka. Because we hear many times, oh, the Lord is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. But where is it coming from? Where is it coming from? Here is where it is coming from.
बलं बलवतां चाहं कामरागविवर्जितं धर्माविरुद्धो भूतेषु कामोऽस्मि भरतर्षभ.
I am the strength of the strong, devotion of passion and desire. I am the sixth life which is not contrary to religious principles. O Lord of the Bhagavatas.
I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. So this he has said previously, how he is the prowess of all powerful men. And then Krishna goes on to say, I am sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles. Now, what kind of sex life is not contrary to religious principles?
Illicit sex. That is like dharma. It's not religious. One is religious sex and one is irreligious sex.
No, the question is, what is not contrary to religious principles? What kind of sex life is not contrary to religious principles?
What do you mean contrary?
Contrary means opposite.
Opposite.
There's illicit sex and non-illicit sex. So one of them is.
So which of the two is?
Sex.
Non-illicit sex.
So what kind of that is non-illicit?
That is done for prognosy of the religious duty, like religious for the kids to become devotees and for religion, for dharma.
Yes, exactly. Very nice. So when the man and woman unite in order to have Krishna conscious children, then that sex life is not contrary to religious principles. And that also says, Krishna says, that is me. So there is nothing wrong in a man and woman uniting, but that union should not be for sense gratification, not because, oh, I want to enjoy. No. The thing is that you unite with the mentality, with the consciousness that I want to have Krishna conscious children. Srila Prabhupada said that you can even have 100 children, no problem, but make them Krishna conscious. Make sure that this is their last birth in this material world. We also saw that shloka in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, if we do not deliver our dependence, then we are failing in our duty. So for the parents, their dependents are their children. So therefore, it's the duty of the parents to make sure that their child does not have to take birth again. So sex life that is not contrary to religious principles, that also is Krishna saying. Now with this shloka, Krishna ends his discussion on how he is the essence of everything, and now he proceeds to another subject matter.
Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasas tamasascha ye matta ye vetitan vidhi natvaham teshu te mayi.
Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am, in one sense, everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me.
See here in this verse 12, Krishna is talking heavily about the three modes of material nature. All states of being, whether it is goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. So the three modes also are coming because of Krishna's energy. They are existing because of Krishna's energy. So mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Now these three modes are present where? In the material world or in the spiritual world? In the spiritual world, do we have Rajoguna, Tamoguna?
Material.
No, material world.
Material world.
Material
world.
Yes. What mode is there in the spiritual world?
Bhakti.
Happiness.
What mode?
Happiness.
What guna?
No.
Shuddha Sattva Guna.
Shuddha Sattva. Very nice. Jai Radhe Tera. So the mode of transcendental goodness, or the Shuddha Sattva, that is present in the spiritual world. In the material world, we have the mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. So that is also manifested by my energy, Krishna says. So Krishna is saying, I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. So although these modes are coming from Krishna, Krishna says that I am independent, which means that Krishna is not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. So Krishna doesn't come under the mode of material nature, which means that even when Krishna comes to the material world, he does not have a material body. He doesn't have a material body like you and me. His body is still spiritual. So that's what Krishna is saying, I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. So one must not misunderstand that Krishna is an ordinary person. Even though he is coming to the material world, still he is completely spiritual. He is untouched by the modes of material nature. Now, one example that we can use for this is just as how in a kingdom there is a king, right? The king may be present in his palace, but his presence is there in the entire kingdom because he is the king of that kingdom. So like that, this material world is under the jurisdiction of Krishna, but Krishna is not under the jurisdiction of the three modes, right? His energy is there, present in the form of the three modes in the material world. Now we have some more slides here before we proceed to the other. So Sattva Guna, what are the qualities of a person who's in the mode of goodness? Knowledge, free from sins, conditioned by a sense of happiness. Rajoguna, mode of passion. One person has unlimited desires, fruitive activities, attraction between man and woman. Tamoguna, one is the mode of ignorance, then that he is characterized by madness, laziness, sleep, and intoxication. So these are the three modes of material nature under which the living entities are existing in the material world. So see, you can see the living entities are here being pulled by the three different strings or the three modes of material nature. Even foods we have foods also in the mode of passion, in the mode of goodness, and the mode of ignorance. So that's why when we eat foods in the mode of goodness, that can take us closer to Krishna, that can take us closer to the spiritual world. Mode of passion, foods that are in the mode of passion, ignorance will take us away from the Lord. Onion and garlic are foods in the mode of passion and ignorance. Meat eating also, food in the mode of ignorance. Therefore, a devotee refrains from consuming food that is in the mode of passion and ignorance. A devotee eats only sattvic food. And we know Ayurveda also says that foods that are in the mode of goodness are also good for living a long and healthy life. Krishna says that he is above the three modes. So here we only saw that the living entities are under the influence of the three modes, but Krishna says that he is above these three modes. So you can see in the material world only these three modes are operating. They cannot operate in the spiritual world. Now here, Krishna says that he is independent. He is not under the modes of material nature. So can we see that he has no guna? Is God nirguna? He has no guna, no sattva guna, no rajoguna, no tamoguna. So is he nirguna?
Yes.
Yes.
He is nirguna. And is he nirakara?
Yes.
So what does that word nirguna mean?
Nirguna means above the three modes.
What does the word nirakar mean?
Nirakar means everywhere.
Yes.
Jiska akar, no?
Nirakar means nirakar.
No akar.
Nirakar means no form.
Akar, that doesn't have akar.
Yeah, doesn't have akar, so no form. So does God have no qualities and have no form? Is that statement correct?
God has qualities and God has form.
So what kind of qualities and what kind of form?
Spiritual, transcendental, divine.
Yes. See, let's read this text. While the Vedic scriptures do say those things, that is not all they say. So yes, in the Shastra, we can read that the Lord is Nirgun Nirakar. Many times we will see this in different scriptures. But we have to understand that this is not all that the scriptures say. Often the very same scriptures that say that God is Nirguna also say that he is Saguna with qualities. So let us consider this verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. In this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, actually 2 shlokas are clubbed together. So what I did is I just extracted the 9th shloka from this so that we can just understand and understand the point that we are trying to make. See, in this verse, this word is used arupa yoru. So arupa. So Krishna has no rupa. And in the same shloka, it also says rupaya. So he has no form. It says he has no form, and immediately it says that he has a form. Arupa, and also it says rupa. This is what we are trying to say, that yes, Vedic scriptures do say that he is Nirgun Nirakar, but it's not the only thing that they say. It's not all that they say. So this is how we should try and understand the Shastra. This verse describes the Lord as both Arupaya, without form, and Uru Rupaya, having many forms. So this is, Sanskrit here splits this, Oru Rupaya. So he has many forms. Therefore, one cannot quote only the word Arupaya and declare the verse that the verse says that God is formless. You cannot only take this from the shloka and ignore this in the shloka. Because the shloka says both. He says, yes, he's Arupaya, but he also says that he's Orupaya, or he has many forms. So therefore, when we quote from the Shastra, or we quote from a lecture, or we quote from any class, we should understand the context before and after. See, this is another verse from the Upanishads. This verse has a contradiction. It says, God has no eyes, but he sees. God has no eyes, but he sees. How to understand this?
God can see with other indris of his, other senses of his bodies.
Okay. So he has transcendental senses, right? The senses of the Lord can be used interchangeably. He can eat just by looking at the food. He does not have to actually put it through his mouth. So the Lord's senses can be used interchangeably. We cannot do that. For eating, we cannot see the food and fill our stomach, isn't it? But the Lord can do that. Okay, now let's try to understand this. The Vedic tradition contains a special praman. Remember, in our initial classes, we used the 3 pramanas, the 3 ways to acquire knowledge. So there is a special pramana called arthapati, postulation, used for reconciling contradictory statements by postulating a third statement. So if there are 2 statements that are contradictory, then we resolve it by putting forward a third statement. So let's consider these 2 statements. Ravi does not eat food during the day. Ravi is growing fat. Now he's not eating food during the day, and at the same time he's growing fat. So it appears it is contradictory. So what third statement can we put forth to remove this contradiction?
That he can eat food, or that he's growing fat. Can you repeat your sentence?
See, the 2 statements on the screen are Ravi does not eat food during the day. The second statement is Ravi is growing fat.
Eat only at the night.
Ah, very nice, Ranjit. So third, if you want to remove this contradiction, you say that Ravi is eating food in the night. Ravi eats at night. So this means you can reconcile 2 contradictory statements by bringing in a third statement. So yes, God is Nirgun, but he's also Sagun. God is Nirakar, but he is where is that statement? See, he is Nirgun Nirakar, but he also has qualities, he also has Akar. So he does not have material qualities, he doesn't have a material form, but he has spiritual qualities and he has a spiritual form. Therefore, when Krishna comes to the material world, his body is not material, he has a spiritual form. This is how we understand. So now one may ask, do personality and form do not limit the God? Because this is a statement that is often given by those who say that the Lord is formless. They say that you are limiting God by putting him in a fixed form. But God is Ananta, God is unlimited. But if you tell him that he has this form, then you are limiting God. So how to answer this question? Vedic wisdom helps us understand that what causes limitation is not form, but matter. Due to the very nature of matter, All material objects are limited, whether they have form or not. So what limits is that which is material. When we have a material body, then we are limited. But if one has a spiritual body, then that is unlimited. But God is not material. So God is not material. He is entirely spiritual. That which is spiritual has the potential to be unlimited, whether it has form or not. God's spiritual form does not limit him. So that which is spiritual is unlimited. So Krishna can have 2 hands. Krishna can have 4 hands. Krishna can have millions of hands. He showed Arjuna, when he was driving the chariot, Krishna had 2 hands. And then when he showed his Virat Roop, he had millions of hands. And then upon Arjuna's request, he said, Arjuna requested that you please come back to your original form, because Arjuna was so disturbed by seeing that Virat Roop. We'll see that in chapter 11. Then Krishna shows him the 4-handed form. And then Krishna shows him the 2-handed form. So anything that is spiritual, you cannot limit him. He can be in 2 hands or 4 hands or unlimited number of hands. So that which limits is not the body, but nature, whether it is material or spiritual. And Krishna's body is spiritual. We'll end here. We'll continue in the next class if Krishna so sanctions. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Mataji, I have a question to ask you. Can I proceed?
Yes.
The class that you give is for an hour?
It's for a maximum of 90 minutes, but we end a little earlier.
What I wanted to ask
Depending on
is,
time, place, and circumstances. We start at 10 a.m. my time.
Okay, so is it late there right now?
It's 12:15 afternoon time.
Okay. And then you have another class to go after this?
No, online, this is the only class.
Okay, what I wanted to know is if everybody approves in the group, in the class, if their time also is suitable, can we have this class longer?
Okay, I don't know about anybody else, but I don't approve of it.
Okay. All right then.
Okay. Because because Shastra we go slow, and if you give too much information in one class, then it can be a little overwhelming. So let's take baby steps.
Okay, Mataji, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, what else? Any other questions? Okay, so since there are no questions, we'll see you next week if Krishna so sanctions. Till then, have a nice week in Krishna consciousness. Vancha kalpataro vyascha kripa sindhu vyayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.